What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So in today's video I want to go through how my portfolio is performing on Trading 212. We will take a look at both of my overall portfolios, my ARK Invest Combined ETF and my overall ETF that has 30 blue chip diversified stocks. But just before we get into all of that, can I please ask, if you're new around here, to consider subscribing to the channel, as we're only 14 away from our next goal of 600. And with all that being said, let's dive right on into my Trading 212 app. As it stands, we currently have about €6,174 invested overall. That's 6.1% towards my overall goal of having €100,000 invested into the market. For my US viewers, that's about $7,500, and for the people across the water in the UK, that's just under £5,500 sterling. 2 points to note before we look into the performance of each of these portfolio pies. Firstly, I'll have a link in the description below for both of these, my ARK Combined ETF and the Brian Bullman Investing ETF, in the description below if you would like to copy or even look at these in more detail. And the second point I want to note is that it says up here that we're up €612 or 11%, but in fact that figure is inaccurate and it should be more, and I'm going to explain that further once we look into my ARK Invest pie. So with my ARK Combined ETF, if you haven't seen any of my prior videos, this is where we look at the overall combined ETF for ARK Invest. You can check this out on Cattys ARK. If you go onto the website, you can see the combined overall top 20 companies across all 5 of their ETFs in terms of position size and weighting. So if you ever wanted to copy that, you can go simply onto that site and you can get an updated ETF every day. Here's just an example of Cattys ARK. You can see the top here, you can see their top 5 ETFs. I started off originally investing in these companies by picking the top 25 companies from each of these ETFs. However, even after 1 week, it became extremely time consuming, even updating once a week, to continually update manually and Trading 212 all the positions and weightings. So one of the subscribers recommended that I use the combined overall ETF. So this includes the top 20 companies, or you could even go 25, 30, 35 or 40. It all depends how many companies you want to include, but I believe 20 companies is a fair reflection of their overall combined ETF. So weekly I'll be going in here every weekend and updating according to the companies, what companies they bought and sold in the top 20, and also I'll adjust the weightings on my own Trading 212 portfolio. One of the issues I stated with Trading 212 that I don't actually like is that their overall returns are not accurate. So let's say if you invested €1,000 today, it went up to 1,500, which would mean you'd be up 50%. However, if you sold that position today as well, your overall return will go back to zero. So it doesn't actually include any historic trading, which I don't like, to be honest. I wish there was a tab where it said the overall current return in your positions that you held and your overall lifetime return, because that is a more accurate representation of how your portfolio is actually doing. For example, we have currently €1,096 invested in ARK Combined ETF, and it says here we are up only 0.75%. This is since we rebalanced yesterday, so since yesterday we are up 0.75%. However, if we go into my spreadsheet that I created, you can see here that we started off originally with €1,000, and as it's currently about €1,097, we are up actually 9.74%, and we're not up the 0.76% that Trading 212 is suggesting. So that for some reason is kind of frustrating for me, but I just want to keep a separate spreadsheet like I just showed to keep track of this ETF, as my other ETF portfolio pie that I'll go into later, I don't actually change the positions too often there, so the overall profit and loss is a lot more accurate because I only add positions. I don't really sell any of those positions as of now. But for now, if you are thinking of making an ARK Combined ETF, again, I'll put a link in the description below that I update this weekly. So if you want to copy that to save you the hassle of doing it yourself, I have the most up-to-date companies in terms of buys and sells in the top 20, and also the weightings are very accurate as well. So as we rebalanced this only 2 days ago, the returns are only 2 days worth of returns. But we can see, for example, top companies here are all in the green. We have Tesla's up 2.7, Roku is pretty much break even, about 0.03% up, Teladoc is up nearly 3, CRISPR Therapeutics is up 0.8, Square is up 0.75, and Invita is up 8.7%. And again, without going into each of these companies, You can see a lot of them are in the red as well, and however most of them are in the green, which gives us an overall return of €8 over the last 2 days, which gives us a 9.6% overall return on this portfolio since we started investing last week. I was also thinking that if these returns continue on this style ARK Invest Combined ETF, I would consider putting a lot more capital in, but I just want to test the waters for a few weeks to see if it actually is accurate in terms of their overall performance. Again, I know performance can change like the weather, but I just want to test it out for a few more weeks before I start putting more capital in. As my original investment was €1,000, I'd happily put in another 1,000 in a few weeks' time if the performance is still increasing. So that's kind of where my ARK Combined ETF is sitting at the moment. We're up 9.6% overall, as I said, and I'll make another update on this at the end of the week with the changes that I'm going to make in terms of the companies and the weightings that ARK Invest have changed. We then have my overall ETF, which is the Brown Women Investing ETF. Originally, as you've seen in prior updated videos on my portfolio, I had all 12 sectors broken down individually on the left here in pies, but I thought it was better off because I'm starting to invest in other opportunities as well, that I wanted to put the top 30 companies across all of those 12 pies into one overall ETF. So I called it the Brown Women Investing ETF. We currently have €5,078 in this fund, and we're up 14% or €630. There has been no trading activity from my part this week as I've been focusing on the ARK Combined ETF. However, next week I feel I will be taking advantage of some of the companies that have gone into the red. So my overall premise of this ETF was the dollar cost average, whereas with the ARK Combined ETF I'm copying what ARK are doing in terms of weightings, but this is a different style investing. In this ETF, where I will dollar cost average on any of my companies that go into the red, so over the long term I get a better average price. So I will be taking advantage next week of some of the companies. We can see here realty income is down 3%, so I'll definitely be pumping more money in here to get a better overall dollar cost average. We have Microsoft, which is up 2.6, Amazon is up 1.9, we have others then such as Apple, which is up 16%. Again, realty income is down 3, so we're going to invest further in that as well. 3M is pretty much break even, it's down about 20 cents. Alpha Class A is up 18%. Pfizer is down 0.8, Caterpillar is up an impressive 30%. We then have some others that are up 1 or 2 in the form of IBM and Waste Management. Walt Disney is currently up 37.8%. Tesla is the first ever company for me that went up over the 100% mark, and it's currently sitting at 116%. Facebook is down 3%, which I find quite surprising, because as I only checked this portfolio as I'm making this video, so we'll definitely be putting more money into this company next week as well, along with, for example, realty income above. So there'd be 2 companies at the moment I'd be focusing on in terms of pumping a lot more money into. We have my iShares Global Clean Energy ETF, which is up 35%. J&J is up over 6%. Coca-Cola again is pretty much break even, but even at break even point for me, I would invest further in Coca-Cola as I believe this is one of my favorite companies. So far we have Coca-Cola, Facebook and realty income, 3 companies that I'm going to definitely take advantage of next week. We then have ExxonMobil, which is up nearly 39%. PepsiCo is up 3.8%. Same with Visa. MasterCard is up to 4.8%. We then have AbbVie up over 28%. P&G is down 1.5%. The Vanguard S&P 500 is up 13%. So it's kind of nice to see that we're beating the S&P 500 overall by about 1%, as that's up 13.4% and we're up 14.2%. McDonald's, another company I will definitely take advantage of next week, is down 1%. JP Morgan is up an impressive 42%. Nike up 5%. Bank of America is up 35.7%. Chevron up 26%. Goldman Sachs is up nearly 50%, which is very impressive. And the Vanguard FTSE 100 is up 20.5%. So overall, I'm very happy with how this portfolio is performing over the last few months. However, there is room for opportunity here, I believe, and that is in the form of McDonald's that I said. There is room for Coca-Cola, Facebook, and realty income. 4 or 5 companies there that I'm definitely going to take advantage of next week. So there you have it, guys. I just wanted to give a weekly update on how my overall portfolio is performing. As I said, we are up 9.7% in the ARK Combined ETF as we had initially put €1,000 in. And in the Brown Women Investing, we are currently up 14.2%, giving me an overall account value of $6,179. My goal for the mid-year this year is to get to 10,000, and hopefully by the end of the year, my overall ETF portfolio pies will be worth over €15,000.